Hey everyone, welcome back. It has been a hot minute since I've been camping by myself. So I am back up in the same mountain range here in northern Utah. This time I brought a bivy and a tarp, which is not taut. Granted, this is my first time ever setting up a tarp. So I'm hesitant to even show the tarp setup because it's sagging in the center and yeah, it's not taut. But anyway, I am up here. Left after work. It is currently about 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And yes, I did drive. I am really close. Again, not going to backpack because, well, I want to test my gear and make sure I have all the right stuff. And with my back the way it is, I need to make sure that I can carry the pack. I get a little bit, get that healed up a little more before I attempt to backpack. But camp is all set up. And I'm just sitting ready, getting ready to sit down and cook some dinner, which consists of rice and a single serving of Spam. So I'm gonna go start cooking up some dinner. All right, I just lit the Firebox gas stove using the Firebox Nano. Use the Exotac Titan lighter to get that going. Just gonna boil up some water real fast so I can get the rice going. And it looks like I forgot one of my pieces of my meal. So I'm gonna go get that and be right back. Okay, the goal is to heat up the water here, get the rice steaming in that, and then cook up one of these, cut this up, put that in the rice, and I'm not sure I'll eat out of the bag or in the Trangia mess tin right there. Just depends on how I'm feeling. But I'm definitely going to cut up the Spam a little bit. I've never done a normal like Spam single. I've always done the light or light sodium. Just out of preference. So we'll see how that goes. Since I've been here, I've been in this spot probably for an hour. It took a hot minute to get that tarp set up, mostly because I've never done it before. But in the time that I've been here, so far I have seen two vehicles come down the dirt road, and where I'm at is at the end of the road, and there's a little place to turn around. I'm doing hand gestures like you can see me, but there's a place to turn around. They come down, and they see the truck and the call, and then they turn around and drive off. But on the drive into this spot, I did see two bucks. They're still had velvet on their antlers, but two bucks together. Didn't see a single doe. I will input or insert pictures of the bucks right here. All right, dinner is done. I ended up adjusting my tarp a little bit so it's more down in the back because the wind is coming from the direction where my tarp is pitched. And I'm not sure if you're hearing in the background, but just beyond those trees, right there, is a truck Chris had to pull up and set up camp right there. Because, mountains, there's tons of dispersed camping in this area. I've passed numerous open spots to get here, and they're parking a couple 100 yards from me. Yay, mountains. Anyway, I'm going to turn this around and give you a tour of camp. All right, so this is my shelter for the evening. Just a standard hardware tarp, one of the gray and brown ones. I can't remember the measurements. And I have my Bora Gear bivy with the mesh on top. Got the half moon or 3/4 zip down the side. I don't recall the materials that I ordered it in. This was custom ordered. They added in additional length on the back end due to my height. I'm using just a regular camping blanket, not even quilt. It's a synthetic down quilt or blanket, excuse me. I want to get a quilt. Then I'm borrowing a Kilo Skier, a large pad. I'm trying that out. Underneath that, I have another pad just underneath the kilos, underneath the bivy. And then the pillow is a Climate Oh, I can't remember the name of the pillow. I'll put that on the screen as well. And then I have my tarp. And again, it's not perfect, but have that going. So wind's coming from this direction. I'll get a little bit underneath, but not much. And I can still climb in decently. And then I have a keyless gear chair also that I'm borrowing from my dad, just to see how I like it. I will put my thoughts on some of the stuff afterwards. And then I cooked dinner on just this little white folding table with my Nano and the firebox gas burner. But this is my view. I can still hear the road. I'm a decent ways off the road, but not horribly. But then look at this. I mean, look at this. How can you complain about that when if I'm lying in bed this evening and I turn around, I mean, I'm going to see that bush there, but if I get out of the bivy and walk down this way, here's a nice little path that goes to a very nice fire ring. When I checked, there were fire restrictions up here, so I did not bring any firewood or charcoal or anything to cook with. The only thing I do have is I have alcohol. I have my alcohol stove, of course my gas burner, and solid fuel tablets. But there's a nice fire pit that probably could be cleaned out. Not a lot of sitting space around it. But then, all of this. This is the view. Absolutely stunning. You know, I love the trailer. I absolutely love the teardrop. But I could not get the teardrop into this space. It's too tight of a turn, it'd be too hard to back up. This is definitely either a rooftop tent or a tent or a bivy type setup. I mean, you probably could do a hammock in between those two trees if you really wanted to, or back up there. But I don't have a hammock for camping. I should have one for relaxing. But here's home for the night. And then tomorrow, after I decide to pack up, I'm going to drive around a few more spots, little side roads, and scout for other camping locations to use either, again, with this setup or the trailer, preferably the trailer. Bring the family up here. Man, even with the road noise, it's beautiful up here. I love it. So I mentioned the group or whatever that was parking right close to where I am. That's where they are. It looks a lot closer. And that's only maybe a football field to where I am. Yep. And I did put the back of the tarp down just because I noticed that a little bit of wind was blowing that way, even though there's a lot of trees and things right here. So again, it's still not completely taut, and if it does get windy, it will rattle. But I think for my first time pitching a tarp, I am satisfied with that. So for this evening, I have been sitting in the chair, listening to a book on tape. I've shot some slingshots, and just kind of enjoying the view. Good morning. It is currently 7 minutes to 6 a.m. I've been awake since about 5. Reason behind that is woke up about 4, had to use the restroom, and was trying to get back, got back into the shelter, which with as high as that was and the angle was not easy for someone of my height, I'm 6'5", to do. But I was able to get in, and at 4 a.m. I attempted, because I didn't realize, I don't know how I missed this, that where I pitched my shelter was at a decent angle, and I was lying in the wrong direction, so I kept sliding this way towards the front of the bivy and the trekking pole and that keeping it in. So I kept trying to adjust that during the night. And I had the pad inside the bivy, and it's the Kilo Skier is a thick pad. It's comfortable, but it is thick. And it didn't leave a lot of wiggle room in the bivy. So I had the bright idea at 4 a.m. to try to put the sleeping pad on the outside underneath the bivy, and that was even worse. The Kilo Skier, comfortable pad. It is slick. My dad uses it on a cot, and he absolutely loves it. It is very comfortable when I could stay on it. Being inside the bivy was easier. As soon as I put it out, I kept sliding off because I realized this morning I'm already starting to tear down, because when I woke up, looking at the sky, I could see clouds look like it was going to rain. So I don't want to be doing this during the rainfall, so I'm tearing down camp already. Then I'll have breakfast and all that good stuff. But try to put the pad underneath, didn't work out. Put it back under, or put it back in the bivy. Put my wool blanket on top of the pad, which I should have done in the beginning, and then my down blanket. Down blanket is super thick as well, so that didn't work out too well. Wasn't covered all that much, but luckily it wasn't that cold last night. But at one point I was trying to turn around or turn over so I could be on my back, and a thought kind of hit me, like, where's the zipper? Because, like I mentioned, I think I failed to stake down the both back sides of the bivy itself. So I was trying to find the zipper. Panic attack, because I'm stuck in this bivy facing downhill, so my head is at the pad and the header at the top. Not a lot of wiggle room, and I'm just panicking trying to find the zipper. Obviously I found the zipper and got out, but by that point it's 5 a.m. and I'm wide awake because I just had a small panic attack. So, get up, put my glasses on, put my shoes on, look out at the sky, goes, oh, this looks like it might rain, and I really don't want to be putting a tarp in the bivy away in the rain. So, doing that right now. Not sure if you can see behind me or not, but wow, look at that sunrise. Absolutely gorgeous. Luckily, the group down there has been very quiet. About 9:30 last night, another vehicle came in trying to find a camping spot. I think that makes about 10 yesterday they came through here. I'm going camping with a friend of mine from Idaho next month, and we're going to come back up to this general mountain range. I'm just not sure I want to come back to this spot because there'll be two of us, and I don't know the best places to pitch. I need to wait until the full daylight and really look. I think last night I was tired. I was hungry and a little tired. So I obviously did not pick the right spot, or maybe a good spot, just should have gone this way instead of this way. Either way, it's going to be a good day. So when I woke up this morning, it was dark, but that's what the skies looked like. I couldn't see the stars, which, I'm debating if I really needed the tarp last night. I got a little windy, but the tarp severely restricted my getting in and out of the bivy. I have used that bivy twice before in the backyard testing it out and had no problem. But, I could sit down next to it and rotate and get in and everything without an issue. The tarp was mostly the restrictive part. So, I don't know. I need to find a better way to set up the tarp. And again, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but I set up on the wrong way. So I was sloping, head was downhill, which is a big no-no. Didn't realize that until after I'd climbed into bed. And by that point it was dark, and the group, or the couple in the camp just over there, had already gone to bed. I didn't want to be repositioning my tarp with nails and hammers and whatnot when they're trying to sleep. So, you know, try to be a good neighbor. But I've had breakfast. I've all packed up because, you know, I don't want to get stuck in the rain. And you can tell kind of this is where I was. Have the various holes for the stake. On here, it doesn't look like it's that bad. Like it's that, you know, and no, angles don't show up on camera. I get it. But even looking at this now, it does not look like it's angled that way that badly. So, and I can see a slight angle, but I didn't think it was going to be enough to have me slide down headlong into the top of the bivy frequently. But it was. So I think if I come back to this spot again, I know the wind comes from that direction, I'll probably end up setting up the bivy this, you know, long-wise as I'm looking, and set up the tarp more as a lean-to instead of well, I tried the A-frame initially, but then the wind, so I took the back down and repositioned. But, and I can't turn this around without stopping the recording. Anyway, one look of where I was last night. Absolutely gorgeous. I just have to change my configuration if I come back to this spot again. When I come back with my friend, as I mentioned, I'm not sure if there's enough space here to set up 2 tents or tarps or bivvies or whatever he's going to use with the size here. I mean, down there's a spot you can just pull down, but if you're sleeping in like a rooftop tent and you have your level blocks, you can get that to where you're level. That wouldn't be that bad. And even right here, the truck's not that level. You can kind of see it's not super level. Now there's a ground. I should know better. But I haven't actually slept in a tent all that much recently. I've just mostly been on the trailer. So, anyway, I've had breakfast. Right now I'm boiling the water to clean my dish. And I'm just going to enjoy, you know, shoot some slingshots, maybe shoot my vlog in a little bit. I'm just going to hang out here for a while before I go off and start exploring.